Welcome to 5 and 5 from the One Stop Co-op Shop, where I discuss 5 key elements of a game in about 5 minutes. I'm Michael Kelly, and today I'm looking at Dice Throne Adventures. Small disclaimer that I was sent just the box for Dice Throne Adventures. I had to purchase all the other characters and such myself. Dice Throne is a game I play competitively with my 8-year-old pretty often, and I liked the Kickstarter when I covered it, although I had some concerns. How does the final product look? Let's find out and get to the list. So I'm going to start out with a pretty big pro at my number 5, and that's how the opponents, the enemies, work in this mode. So whether you're fighting a weenie enemy in the basic crawl mode or a big boss when you reach them, the play is the same. You roll 5 dice Yahtzee style, that's how you do stuff on your turn as well, and the AI will tell you what they're trying to roll. Like they want to roll a straight, or they want to roll 3 of this and 2 of that. And that makes resolving their turns incredibly quick, incredibly straightforward, but with your card play and the option to change up their dice and react to them, you still have some control despite the randomness of what they do. And then the bosses themselves are great because they have their own deck of cards, and they get random upgrades at the beginning of the fight, so they won't even be quite the same each time you face them, and the cards will give you a reward but also do something terrible to you sometimes, so I really like how the enemies run overall. My number 4 is another pro, something I mentioned a moment ago, and this is part of the core Dice Throne gameplay, whether you're doing competitive or adventures, and that's the card play. So each of the characters has a unique deck of cards, and in Adventures you can actually upgrade that. We'll talk about that in a moment. But I like how the cards work. Basically you get some points to spend on them and 1 card every turn, but you can discard your cards to gain more points. You already have kind of this nice little resource allocation choice. And then your cards can upgrade your board. That's fun to kind of level up as you go, but they can also change your dice and give you some luck mitigation, and they have some slight variety between the characters. So I kind of like this choice and this resource management of the card deck overall. But speaking of upgrades and characters, that's my number 3, and it's a bit of a mix here. On the positive side, the dual upgrading in the Dice Throne Adventures campaign mode is a lot of fun, because you both upgrade your character within each mission and within each boss battle, putting those cards on your board and getting cooler powers, but you also have sort of this legacy style upgrading where you unlock these treasure cards and upgrade the cards in your deck, so your deck becomes permanently better. And some of them are like these really cool artifacts that give you special bonuses that nobody else has, really differentiating your characters. That's really great. I enjoy all of that. But where I get kind of down to a mix is in the character variety themselves. There are some fairly large balance issues with the characters in the adventure mode, in that the characters that don't have much defense can be very fragile and can go down very quickly, especially in a 3 or 4 player game where they have a smaller life pool overall. And speaking of death and repeating, that goes into my number 2, which is focused on the campaign structure, and that's another mix. On the positive side, I think the campaign flows really smoothly, is easy to run, and without having any spoilers, has some very cool stuff that you can unlock at the end. I like how they made the choice during the development of the game to alternate between crawl mode and boss mode, so each can kind of be a 30-minute to 1-hour play session. You can take a break if you need to. But the negative side of the experience overall is that it can feel very repetitive, because although the bosses do have different powers, they don't feel that super different from each other when you're actually fighting them, and the crawl mode especially can feel very samey as you play it over and over and over again, because yes, you're exploring this different map, but the effects on the tiles aren't so huge that they really make it feel like a new experience. But finally, my number 1 is another mix, and this is such a big one, this could make or break the game for you, and that's just the basic die rolling Yahtzee mechanic of the game. You roll 5 dice, you can re-roll as many as you want, up to twice, and you're trying to match these patterns. And on the positive side, it's very quick to teach, very quick to run through. It can be fun to push your luck and make hard choices of going for the better effect, but maybe missing it, or going for the sure thing that you already have. That can be all great, but on the other side, depending on your tastes again, you might hate how luck-based it can feel, and how if you just keep on rolling crap, even with your mitigation, and the AI keeps on rolling the exact right thing, you die with almost nothing you can do. But getting to my overall thoughts for the game, who will enjoy it and who might not? First, I think so-called beer and pretzel Pretzel gamers are going to love this one. It's really quick to set up, everything has its nice place, it plays smoothly and fast, not too complex. And also I think dungeon crawl and adventure game fans will really enjoy the leveling up and the unlocking of stuff when you get through the campaign and making your character stronger and kind of seeing new things. That's all fun. But on the other hand, you might want to avoid this one if you don't like dice luck, because again, that's most of the game. If you want really great balance and tons of character variety, because again, some of the characters just don't work too well in this mode unless you like frustration and punishment. And finally, if your group is like Pandemic Legacy veterans and they can just slam through session after session really quickly, getting hooked by the new element that's introduced each time, there's not that much changing here and it can feel repetitive, especially playing the same character, so it might wear out its welcome if you try to push through it too quickly. And hey, if you'd like to see a full playthrough of the game in action, click on the link that just popped up. Good gaming, and I'll see you at the next stop.